Win big in 2025 with RotoBaller.com's MLB Premium Pass. It includes our preseason draft kit, 15 exclusive lineup tools, and the Team Sync platform. Get customized rankings for your specific league format. Sync your leagues with Team Sync and use our new live draft assistant. Then get customized advice for your scoring settings. Get a discount for any MLB Premium Pass using my promo code Knuckler. Just visit rotoballer.com, sign up today, and start rotoballing like a boss. This podcast is also brought to you by Parlay Play Fantasy Sports. Use my referral code RotoBrady. Get that sweet, sweet deposit bonus. They got paid contests coming to a state near you. They're giving out bonuses and boosts, slashing lines all day long. Hop into those player prop DFS contests. That's a real fun platform over there. And what is up, everybody? This is Brady Grove bringing you another interlude episode of RotoBaller's official MMA podcast. Tap that. We're in a UFC off week this week.
Hey, is that camera big enough to take in the largest arm in Westland, Oregon that has found its way to Houston, Texas? Because that thing looks a little bit small.
And with me tonight, this guy is a 10-2 professional fighter, the former Fury FC featherweight champion, the former Fury FC amateur champion. If you're paying attention to the Contender Series this past year, he was in a great scrap back in August.
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Joe Solis calls for a stop to the fight. 1 minute, 8 seconds into the very first round, declaring a winner by TKO and new Fury FC featherweight champion, the Texas Kid, Michael Aswell.
It is the Texas Kid, Michael Aswell. Michael, thank you so much for being here. How's it going tonight, man?
That's awesome, man. That was sick, bro. That was an awesome promo. That was sick. I'm doing good. I'm doing way better now.
Well, damn it, there's so many good fights to choose from of yours on UFC Fight Pass.
Thank you.
So, as far as like just the most recent fight, Dorian Ramos, unanimous decision win just back in December. That probably feels like forever ago, sitting at January 23rd, 2025. But that was a good fight. There were some ups and downs to it. How did you feel, especially bouncing back after the Contender Series, getting back into Fury FC? How did it feel to get that win against a guy in Dorian Ramos who, one way or another, keeps ending up fighting a bunch of tough dudes, and he's always a tough time out?
Yeah, man. It was good to get the win. You know, I felt like you never want to have a loss on your record, and after the loss, it's hard for someone to be like, "Hey, let's get this kid." He's coming off a loss. It's hard to pick him up. You want to be coming off a win. People like to see the wins. I'm a winner, at heart. So, I had to get one back. I had to kind of get my my little mojo back, and Dorian's a tough dude, and I wanted to show that I'm willing to fight the best dude that's out there. And after that Contender loss, I was ready. I was hungry to fight. I was ready to fight. So December, it was a little shorter notice because I was kind of waiting for, I thought I was gonna get a short notice call. So I was kind of just waiting around and didn't really hear nothing. And there was an opportunity for me to step in, and they didn't call me. So I was like, okay, well, I think I need to go get me a win. And fought Dorian, had a tough fight, and did my thing. It probably wasn't my best performance. There's a lot of things I can work on and get better at, but yeah, I'm happy that I got the win, and I'm happy with the result at the end of the day.
And so, as far as like points that you weren't as happy with from the Dorian Ramos fight, like what were some like things that came out of that it was like, got the win, that was the most important thing, but really want to work on this moving forward?
Yeah, I think my biggest thing that I need to just keep growing my game and just keep expanding on getting better as a whole. And I think if I continue to keep working my skills, keep working my game, that at the end of the day, that I'm gonna be where I need to be. For that fight in particular, there's a couple things I needed to fix. Just having a little more fun in there, and just being a little more loose. And I think going forward, the better I get, the more that I train, everything that's going on, I think we're gonna get there, and I think it's gonna start looking good, and we're gonna start flowing a little bit.
And that's kind of like a crazy psychological spot to be in because you're 24 years old. That's it. No, you've got years and years and years ahead of you in this sport. Right? So no wins or losses make or break anything. But after the contender series, and I know a lot of like young fighters that do this too, where it's like you get a loss and it's like, damn, I just want to get another win in there, like before the end of 2024. Just in
Right.
that point. But what was your headspace in when you take the fight? You're in a comfortable setting in Fury FC, where you've spent your entire mixed martial arts career. Where it was it really just like I just want to get another win in before the end of the year, just because I feel like I can get it, and I feel like it's perfect timing.
That's 100%. You're exactly right. And it's like you said, coming off of the loss, I was hungry to get back in there and just to prove that, I deserve to be there, and the thing is with the short notice, there just wasn't really many fights at the end of the year. The last fight was December 14th for the UFC. So I didn't want to wait around. Imagine, look at us now. We're almost till February. If I would have waited around, try to look for a short notice opportunity that wasn't there, I would have waited 7, 8 months of me not fighting. And I just think in this game that, you know, activity is just key in this game. I think we have to stay active. You see it even at the highest level. The guys that are fighting the most are doing the best. Look at Alex Pereira. He's so active and he's getting better every fight. I think being in the cage is so valuable, and getting that time and experience in there is it's valuable. No matter where you're fighting. It kind of gets you ready, and Fury does a really good job of getting us ready and prepared for that next level. And they have a really high level production and quality, and Eric does a really good job of matching people up. I mean, me and Dorian being on Fury is a pretty crazy thing. So, 1 second, I'm gonna call my dog real quick. He kind of just ran off, but Finn, let's go, Finn. Come on, let's go. Hurry up. Oh, you're good. Sorry.
No, and did like the timing couldn't have been more perfect. Like, what are just in December, Fury was putting on Fury FC 99. It would have been cool if you could have been at the Fury FC 100 show, just because you've been in so many big spots for them lately.
For sure, for
Uh,
sure.
but I mean, what better setting, Fury FC that does so much out of Texas and has put so many prospects in the UFC and upper levels over the past year. So it must have felt like, oh well, like might as well do because here, like you just said about activity level, I think there's a lot of people that are way too, especially young fighters that are prospects that are way too careful with their activity level, and you never know who might bite you at the wrong point. People take losses in this sport, so if you wait around and only fight once a year, you've wasted a lot of opportunities to prove yourself to other organizations.
No, 100%. And I think with the Fury 100 too is just it was a very packed card. There was a lot of people on it, and I think my boy Justice, has the belt.
You
Hello.
you cut out there for a second.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I had to go fucking get my dog. Okay, we're back.
The last thing I heard was your boy Justice.
Yeah. So Justice was fighting for the belt, defending the belt, and a lot of things. I never felt like I lost the belt. I kind of I told Eric once I went to the contenders, I was like, maybe be a little cocky, but I was like, hey, I won't need it. I won't be back. You can kind of just let it go. And, me and Justice always had a plan of me getting it. And then once I get it, he got it. It kind of just worked out, kind of nicely, I guess, besides the decision for, the contenders. But I never felt like I lost it. So it would felt weird if I was on the card and not fighting for the belt. But I wasn't going to fight Justice. So, like you said, it kind of was just perfect. Fury had a card to end the year. It was the day after, the UFC card. So everything worked out. They ended up making us main event, which we probably should have been, but I know that got on the card, 2, 3 weeks out. So it would have been wrong to just, replace the main event that was there. But, it didn't matter to me. I'm like I said, activity's the key in this game. And I'm just glad that I got to go in there. I got to scrap and got to see some things that I needed to work on and get better at.
And crazy because the dude that you beat back in December of 2022 by second round knockout, Cameron Graves, that's the dude that's now the Fury FC featherweight champion.
Right. I
Uh,
mean, crazy.
so as far as the style with which you fight, it's very fitting that out of your 10 professional wins, 5 are by decision and 5 are by knockout. Because when people watch you fight, it's a lot of trying to set up some big shots. You land a lot of big shots, but there's a lot of volume striking too. And
Mhm.
the crazy thing is, people rarely, like, especially over the last handful of fights, have had to see you fighting off of your back or fighting on the ground. You know, a lot of it has taken place on the feet, and you're striking the way that you throw it and the volume that you throw really is like half of your takedown defense that it needs to be. It keeps people at a distance and it keeps people thinking about other things. And so to go
You're
back,
doing your homework.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun this week doing the homework on you, man. Like and like I've watched you as these events were happening on UFC Fight Pass. You know, just doing the extra bit of brushing up before our conversation. But
Mhm.
like, take the fight against the Cuban dude, Yadier Deval. That was your first professional loss back in June of 2023.
Mhm.
If anything was the issue there, like, you know, he was able to get some takedowns and everything, but like
One takedown
yeah, like that was it, but it felt like
off of overhand, like
it felt like it was a bigger part of his plan, and it wasn't even executed. It felt like your plan for the fight was executed better. So you know, it really just kind of came down to like the activity from round to round. You know, so what did you learn from that fight? Because that isn't the way that a lot of your fights go. I mean, obviously, you know, because you're 10-2, but as far as like stylistically how that fight played out, how was that a learning experience?
no, absolutely. We're the two young prospects, at the time. And they kind of really didn't want to match us up, but me, no one really was trying to fight me at the time, and I was down. I'll fight whoever, So, I mean, look at my two losses. They're guys that are just in the UFC now, So I don't. It doesn't really matter if both those guys that I lost to, I think I thought I would. You can argue that I won both, So, that fight really in particular, there was just a lot of things going on outside of um just the fight itself. I was kind of in the middle of camps. My my coach passed, but then I was in Kansas City, with Glory and Kraus, and then all that stuff happened with Kraus, and then I was back in Houston. And I was kind of back and forth. So it was just I was just in a little spot where I just didn't feel where I needed to be, and I just felt like all the outsides weren't there, but there's no excuses. Like, I still went out there, I performed, I did my thing. I still thought I won the fight. Everyone that did help me prepare and stuff, like, that was still, real good work. I just, after that fight, it made me realize that everything needs to be, especially in the game, everything's got to be on point. Outside the gym, inside the gym, away from the gym, everything's just got to be, on point. You got to feel it, you got to know it. And I was a little injured after the fight, so it kind of gave me a good month or two, kind of just like get away and just not really think about nothing, just kind of lock back into like my life and make sure that my outside life was doing good before I can really get back and get my fighting life back on track. So that fight maybe just realize that there's some things I need to fix, some things that I got to work on. And that's after that fight, I went to 4 Ounce Fight Club, and that was my first fight was after them. And you see the year we had, we went 3-1, arguably, close fight on the contenders. That's, but if that's the one loss that we had, it was a great loss that we had, I guess, and first time fighting in Vegas in front of Dana, in front of Sean, in front of Mick and Hunter and all them, and put on a show. So, I can't really complain with the year we had, and I think I've kind of found my footing of where I need to be. My life's getting good. I bought a house and stuff, so trying to finish school, and so everything's just kind of moving how it should be, and we're getting close on the goal and the dream, and it's right there. I can feel it.
And it's crazy, like the way that you just put it, like it, you know, a lot of young fighters that I've talked to, it seems like there's a lot of times where things are kind of going like you described. Like, you know, you're in between I mean, something happens with your coach or whatever it might be, and you know that like something's just a bit off. And
That's it.
the planets haven't exactly aligned, but there's nothing to do about it. You know, like the fight's coming up, you're not hopping out of it. So, like, you know, that's got to be a good learning experience too. Is going into fights no matter what the circumstances are in your life.
Absolutely. I mean, you just never know. Life is life, and my late coach that passed, also Lisa, would always tell me the only thing that's going to stop you is life, and you just don't know what it's gonna throw you. You don't know what's gonna happen. So just try to stay on the right path and just try to stay in the gym and just do the right thing. So I've always just kind of just been in the gym and just kind of try to do the right thing. And for the most part, everything's kind of been going as planned. As best as it can be. I turned pro when I was 20. You know, 4 years, 5 years later, we're 10-2, looking at about to get called up to the UFC. So I'm just trying to keep my head on straight and just keep the work at the end of the day, and just keep trying to learn, keep trying to get better, and that's all I can do. I can only control the things I can control.
Yeah, for sure. And the good thing is you always bounce back from these two professional losses hungry, because
That's
then,
it.
what was ultimately like 6 or 7 months after that first loss to Audier, you bounce back and fight Josh Altum, a fight that was stopped in the fourth round by the doctor. I'm shocked that that fight made it into the fourth round, honestly. It was, I mean, the writing was on the wall.
Do you like watching that fight? That fight was a banger.
Dear God, man, the first round, the writing was on the wall. Like he was throwing some shots back. He's a tough dude for sure, but like it was a battering from the very start of it. Now, that was a fantastic performance to watch. A lot of fun.
Thank you, bro. That one was good, man. That one felt good. That was my first fight with 4 ounce, and not that we had a little beef or anything. Like we were just a little talking on Instagram and stuff. So that one felt good. It was fun, and he's a good guy, and we're both from Houston, so everyone knows about everyone. So that was just a high level fight, and I felt like I felt like I was on that day, like just in that cage. I just really felt like I was seeing everything, I was feeling everything, and we even felt some adversity. He caught me and slipped a little bit, and he almost got that head and arm. So just defending it, showing my defense, showing my ground game a little bit, got back up, and right back to work.
And so then you end up getting the Fury FC featherweight title in the next fight 3 months later against Nate Richardson with a first round knockout. Easy work, put away quickly, and with a solid shot. That was the winning announcement that I played at the beginning.
Yeah, that was
It was fun to see. You and your team were so hyped right before they announced you as the winner. They were pointing up at the screen so you could see the knockout too. Like that one looked like you all were having a ton of fun with.
that one was crazy, bro. It was just, I just knew what was at stakes for that fight. My manager just told me like, hey, you win this fight, like you're going to the contenders. It's locked in. And he just said win. So when I won by first round knockout, I already knew I was in. Like I didn't have to worry about like waiting, like, oh, when they get. I was like, oh yeah, there's no way they don't call me for contenders. So um, I just knew it was on the line. We always say this in fighting, like your next fight's always your most important. Regardless of what happens, right? Like you lose one, and that next fight is important. You win it. Oh, the next one, is more important. So I just know every every next fight, is the most important fight. So they just get harder. They get more important. They get more valuable. And yeah, that one just felt good, man. God, we were so locked in that camp. We were just ready to go. And for it to happen how it happened, people were telling me before I was walking out there, other coaches were like, "Oh, you're gonna be in a 5 round war, like da da da." And so, for it to go like that, for me to be unscathed, and then knowing I had contenders right next, I was locked in. So, we're clean. We didn't have to worry about getting hurt. We stayed shape. We stayed ready to go because we knew contenders was next, and yeah, it was good. I mean, you couldn't ask for it any better.
And so then fast forward, it's August 2024. You're on the Contender Series and you're fighting Bogdan Grad. Okay, so the ultimate stats, like what the stats ended up being, it was 55 strikes to I think like 100 or 110 for him, and he scored 3 takedowns en route to a split decision. Yeah, and the value of those, whatever, but that's what the stat is.
Right.
He ends up getting the win by split decision. Your thoughts, first of all, on just the fight and how it played out, because at the very least, you reached a bigger audience in the Contender Series, and it was a really fun fight. So at the very least, you must have gained some fans from that and people that were paying attention to you. But your thoughts on the fight, and then your thoughts on the decision.
Yeah, I mean, for the fight itself, I think there's a lot of things that I did well that I wanted to implement and that we did. And I think there's just some couple things that I could have just added and just to kind of get him out of there. Even in the last round, he was hurt, to the body, and I could have probably pushed a little more and kind of do a little more body shots and just kind of just worked a little bit more of what I wanted to accomplish. But big time stage, first time in Vegas, first time fighting, just just a little stiff, kind of just throwing the same combinations and stuff. So I think I could have mixed it up a little better. I think the third round kind of showed a little bit more of who I am and how I fight and kind of how I get down. So yeah, it was definitely close. I mean, look, I thought I won. I thought I won the third round for sure. Like I thought there was no question I won the third round. First and second were close, but I thought the first round I didn't. I feel like I didn't even get touched in the first round. Really, like I feel like I moved a lot. I landed. I feel like I landed like a lot of shots, in the first and didn't really get touched. I think the second I probably lost. I think it was close, but I think he probably, with the cut and stuff. But yeah, we just can't leave it to the judges. I just thought when I heard 30-27, I thought I won because I was like, there's no way I lost the third round. You know what I'm saying? So like I was in my head, I'm like, oh, I won. So when they read that, I was like, oh yeah, we're good. Right? Because like first and second were kind of indecisive, like in my head when I went through the fight, and then I was like, "There's no way I lost the third." I was on the gas in the third. I was all over him. He went to the fence. He was kind of hurt and stuff, but he's a tough dude, man. He's good, and I knew he was going to be good, and I knew that it was a second shot, so he couldn't lose. Like or in his mind, this is it for him. So.
And I remember thinking the same thing too, actually, because I agree with you on the sentiment of the third round. And we see a lot of fights like this where, like, first two rounds are close, but the third round was definitive. And so you hear 30-27, and it's like, well, there's no, like, he didn't lose the third round. So, like, but judging in the past year of so many levels, like, what are you going to do?
Well, that's why we don't leave it to the judges. But even so, like the score was so bad that MMA Twitter was like, "This is the worst," And then they also had that Dana didn't like that other fight that had a bad score in the Duffy and Pinchinini fight. He thought it was wrong too. So like, Dana was kind of like, oh, when I went to the back, they're checking out my eye. That's another thing. Dana posted my cut on his Instagram, so that got a lot of attraction too. My cut in the decision. So and then Dana said it was the best fight he's seen, and both giving us bonuses. So it was just at the time it was a really big fight, and all the MMA fans on Twitter at least were going crazy and a lot of shouts. All the big accounts were posting it and stuff. So I definitely gained a lot of experience, a lot of traction, and just kind of mental stability, knowing that like, yeah, I belong here, bro. Like this is where I belong. I mean, the guy that I lost to by decision is in the UFC. The other guy I lost to by decisions in the UFC. That are both close. So I know that I belong. I know where I should be, and we're gonna get there. It's just a matter of timing and time and place, and just being ready for when the opportunity presents itself.
And like it probably escapes you sometimes, but like you're 24, like
Yeah.
you're young in this. Even for the Contender Series, like the Contender Series called the Contender Series, but we see people in 28 to 33 on that show all the time. Even though Dana has said like he's not looking for that age range necessarily, or at least into the 30s. But like Bogdan Grad, that's a dude who competed in IMMAF. We've seen a ton of prospects on the global scale come from that organization. He was in KGFS for a really long time, 29 years old. So at the very least, taking on a European fighter, and Bogdan Grad out of Austria, folks, taking on a European fighter who is approaching the age of 30, who's been on the world scene, has to have been great experience, no matter what.
Oh, I mean, 100%. Like you said, first time really finding someone, out of country, kind of just getting a sense of, guys you're going to be dealing with, you're going to be seeing, and then doing it in that aspect, literally doing it at the Apex where they have fights, weekly. They have the Apex shows. So, being in there, getting comfortable being there, and just knowing that, like I said, like knowing that I definitely belong and, it was great. I mean, it literally like I could not tell you like I had so much fun. Like it was unreal. Like I was in the cage like this is awesome. Like just having a great time. My family was there, my friends, my girlfriend was there, and it was really just a good time. Besides, not getting the nod and then the contract. But Dana came to the back and he just told me that he thought I won, that my next fight's gonna be in the UFC, that I deserve to be in the UFC, and then he told me I was getting paid even though I didn't win, and a bonus on top. So like I couldn't really complain. I like life's good, and it could have been worse. I could have been knocked out, or I could have lost very bad, and they could have not wanted me. But I made a good impression with the UFC, and I think it was more or less a pretty successful job interview.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really ask for like especially in a fight that is lost by a close decision. You can't ask for much of a better like outcome from it. Like if Dana White ends up impressed and you stay on his radar, that's the most important part because they're always looking for people for the Ultimate Fighter, for the Contender Series. So his mind and all the UFC brass always has to be on who are the other guys that we're looking for, who is some other young guy. But to stay on his radar is vital.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, posting me on his story, called it the greatest contender series fight in history. So, you know, I think I left an impression on him that, it's hard to do, especially when he's seen it all, done it all, and there's so many, things that he's seen and been through. So, overall, like I said, great experience. I had fun. It was good and it was a little different. It was only two corners and no one was there and it was quiet, but, it was cool nonetheless. And at the end of the day, like, I'll fight wherever. It does not matter. Like, whoever, whenever, like, seriously, like, I'm cool with it. That's cool. We'll just go with the flow.
Well, hell, hopefully, hope the UFC can put on a Houston show at some point. That'd be a great spot. But kind of to the point too about you going to the Apex and everything. This is a crazy sport in that, like, people that are young and on the come up in this sport, they get to achieve their dreams multiple times. It's like, damn, like I'm here at the Apex, and then later to be like, damn, I'm here at the UFC, and then, damn,
Right.
you're fighting this guy, or like on a pay-per-view card. So that, I mean, like, no matter what, at such a young point in your career, that has to be something that you'll remember is like, damn, I was at the UFC Apex, not the Contender Series, but like right now, it's got to be hard for you to focus on that because it's always the next fight.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, like after every fight that I have, I kind of take a 30 minutes, and kind of just kind of like go back and just look over what I just did. Like, damn, I really just did that. Like, that's crazy. So, especially after a contender fight, I definitely went back and looked back and just, really, enjoyed it at the time and just like, man, this was awesome. This was fun. And, at the end of the day, like you said, I accomplished some of the things I wanted to accomplish, but I didn't accomplish everything. So I was still hungry for more. So I can't keep focusing on harnessing on the things that just happened in the past. When I really got to just keep moving forward and keep trying to accomplish the other goals that I still have my eyes set on. So it was fun. I had a good time. It was good to experience it. I had my memories, and they were recording me. UFC was filming me and stuff. They really liked me. Everyone was cool, and I met a bunch of staff, met all the people, and literally got to talk to Dana White. Like, how cool is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and he told me that was one of the greatest fights he's seen, and like life was good. And, life's good. I can't I can't complain. I'm just still just hungry, and I want more. I want everything that I told myself I'm gonna do and said I'm gonna get. So we're just staying ready, just staying in the gym and just ready.
And so to talk about some stuff on a bit of a broader picture. So the Contender Series was the first fight in your entire MMA career from amateur to professional that was not under the Fury FC banner. You
Mhm.
started with them as an amateur back in May of 2018. Actually lost your amateur debut before you routed off like 4 straight years of victories. Uh,
Yeah.
but you fought once on Fury Challenger Series. You fought on Fury cards from Fury 24 all the way to Fury 99. Fury's had a huge year, dude. In a spot where in 2025 so much of the MMA prospect view is international. And it didn't, there's still LFA, there's still Cage Fury. CES has kind of like gone away, like the New England scene, but like Uriah Faber, Anthony Pettis FC, all those like places. But there's so many international spots that people are looking to for MMA prospects that it was such a huge year for Fury FC and producing prospects for the next level and putting on a ton of consistent shows, good main events. So, what has it been like being under the Fury FC banner for your entire MMA career? Such a high quality organization that clearly people like to work with because we see so many of their fighters staying with them for so long.
Yeah, I mean, Fury's been amazing for me. And, when my coach Saul was around, he really just told me, like, Eric is a really good guy, and there's not many of them. Most of these promoters don't really care about you. They don't really want to help you. They're they're not here for you. They're really there for themselves. And don't get me wrong, Eric's not the perfect guy, but compared to all these other guys, he's never done me wrong. He's never treated me bad, and every time we had a deal, he always stuck to his word, regardless of the situation might not help him, or he's just always been a man of his word. And my coach really trusted in him, so it was easy to put my trust in him. What my coach saw said was law to me. He's the only coach I've had since I was, you know, 13, 14 years old. Until the time he passed. So, um, yeah, I mean, Fury's been awesome. And like I said, since you're an amateur, it feels like you're fighting as a professional, just with the production, how they run things, how professional it is. My coach used to say like, "Man, y'all got two separate rooms. How lucky are y'all?" Back in the day, y'all are in the same dressing room getting ready, and like so, just the way they ran things, and then I know Eric has a really good relationship with Mick, and Mick was started a legacy, so I know he's got a lot of help from him, and a lot of ideas, and it's been awesome. I've had a great time. We've sat down and kind of went over like how we see my career playing out, and so far it's been pretty smooth. Everything we said we're gonna do and how we're gonna get it done, has been done, and I think we just really had a good relationship. I sold the most tickets in freaking history, probably.
Crowd's
Yeah.
always behind you there.
Oh, I mean, I sell like an unreal amount of tickets. Like it's not even funny. Like I like if Eric could probably confirm, how much I, but probably like close to 300, 400, $500,000 worth of ticket money. Like in 10 professional fights, or what, 11? I've had 11 fights with him. 11 times like 20,000, whatever that is, 25, 20, a lot. And that's not including amateurs and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like, we've had a good relationship, we've had a good partnership, and we've never done each other wrong. I've always, took care of him. He's always taken care of me. And, experience wise, I've always fought good guys. I think it's important that you got to test yourself before you get there. You don't want to fight a bunch of cans and a bunch of scrubs. Then you go to the UFC, you fight a real good guy, you understand what adversity is, and then you don't know how to handle it. So some people want to learn on the job and just want to get in the UFC, and it's more than that. You want to be able to make sure that you're ready to be in the UFC, and make sure you're ready to do business with them, good business at the end of the day.
And because this is a time where you can be in the UFC, but like that time can be fleeting. Like there's so many avenues for new prospects to come in, and so if you get to the UFC and you're not ready, that could be it. If it's a bad showing. And I think people have to be a lot more careful now with whatever is going on with PFL and with Bellator being done with so many, because MMA is always at its best when there's really good second and third best organizations in the world. Back to the Pride days and the Strike Force days and everything. But people have to be careful now because you never know what organizations will be here and gone the next day. So making sure that you are ready when you get there is so important, so that you have the staying power and the longevity, and people want to watch you still in the UFC. Because in this era too, people on the internet are brutal, and if you have a bad performance in the UFC, you're going to hear about it, and it's going to affect things, as dumb as that can be.
No, 100%. 100%.
And so, with 4 Ounce Fight Club, with the transition to that team, that is a team that has a bunch of dogs on it, like a bunch of high level dudes, fun fighters to watch, and a lot of great experience. And it's been, so far a great sample size for you under that banner. So, what has that transition been like, and what is the value to a young fighter like you and being with a team like 4 Ounce Fight Club?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is, when I was kind of trying to find where I wanted to be, I wanted to, someone, a gym that felt, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of people that are, kind of had the same goals, kind of had the same looks, and of course, Daniel Pineda was, the head coach, their head guy, and he's a featherweight that's in the UFC. It's like I'm a featherweight that wants to be in the UFC. It was almost like a no brainer. It's like one of the best guys with 100% finish rate. All of his wins are by finish. Like that's unreal. He has, 28 wins, 28 finishes. That's look it up. There's no one else that's the closest dude is that Alvarez guy at 55 in the UFC. And he's still about 4 or 5 fights away. So, being as the guy that's a vet too, that's been fighting for 20 years, that's just so much experience, so much knowledge of the game, and just so much I could take away. And I like it. It almost just made perfect sense, and we really clicked. When I got there, I think. I felt like I was a big asset. To help the team, kind of just run them, kind of, just to help be there and just show 'em, lead a little bit. I feel like I'm just a natural born leader, and I think maybe at the time that's something that they were lacking, and it was just kind of a almost like a perfect match in heaven. I'm just one of those guys that came from the old school realm where it's like I'm always on time, I'm always making sure that we're starting on this time, and and kind of just help them kind of just get a little more disciplined, structural wise. And like I said, it was just a perfect match made in heaven. And the way I fight really helps Daniel because, Daniel's worst nightmare is a decision, and I'm a person that can help push the pace. And, if he had to go to a decision and stuff. So, like I said, we worked really well together. He was a guy that can, teach me really how to finish and how to really, get these guys out of here. And, yeah, man, it was one of the probably the smoothest, best transition I could have had, and everyone that's helped me, transition quickly and just, made me feel at home, more or less, and that was the main thing, I felt, wanted, and people saw the value and wanted to help me and help me achieve my goals and dreams. So it was awesome, man. It's been solid, like you said. Like the past year, I've been with them, and we went 3-1, one loss on the contenders, two finishes. So, can't complain. Pretty good year. So I'm excited to see where things lead.
And it might sound like, it might sound silly or dramatic to people who don't follow mixed martial arts. But if things aren't right with your gym, that's all those people in that environment, that's what dictates how you get better and what ways you get better, the rate that you're improving. And I would challenge anybody to be improving consistently if they are not comfortable with the people around them, or if there's, any weird, how gyms can be,
Yeah, that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I hate the guys that I left with. Like they're great guys and we trained so good together. It was just like I said, there was just something a part of me that was like, maybe I like a little disconnect, and you got to get connected. You have to be, you got to kind of be bought in, and maybe I just wasn't fully bought in, and that's kind of you just got to find, got to fit, you got to get in where you fit in,
And so, this is the thing. You're coming off of a unanimous decision win at Fury FC 99. You had a fantastic showing on the Contender Series. It's got like, so that like if you just keep getting down to business, putting in work, that like you're gonna get another call eventually. And from not even just from the UFC, but there's plenty of other bigger shows that could give you an opportunity across the planet. There's great organizations everywhere. So obviously you're trying to go to the UFC, but there's great opportunities in a bunch of different places. Is just the point I'm trying to make. And so when you're looking at where you're at right now, it because everybody always says that I'm just focused on the next fight, and obviously people are, but there has to have been at least some thoughts to you like, damn, that UFC featherweight, I would love to fight that guy like in my like real UFC debut. Is there anybody like that you've thought about?
All of them, bro. All of them. Anyone. I'm literally so like you said, I just won the last fight. Now I'm on standby. They said I was next. Dana White said on national TV that my next fight is gonna be in the UFC. I'm next, and we talked to Sean. He said get a win. We got to win. So now we're just we're sitting here ready. I've been training every day. Weight's good, and there's a featherweight fight from February 1st all the way to April. So every single week there's a card. There's a featherweight on every card. So, someone pulls out, someone gets hurt. I got my passport. I'm ready to go. So I like all the matchups that are coming up. A lot of the contender series guys that got contracts in featherweights, they're fighting coming up. So it almost makes sense. It's a perfect matchup. I was on the contenders. I went to get my win on the regional team, so I can work my way back to the UFC. So now it's just a matter of just hoping that not hoping, I feel bad, like wishing on someone to get hurt or something. But if someone were to pull out or something were to happen, like just know that I'm ready. I'm like I said, I'm not trying to wish nothing bad on nothing. But like if something were to happen, there's always situations every week. Something occurs, something pops up. if there's an opening, I'm ready. I can make the weight, and that's kind of where we're at right now. So I'm just kind of just staying in the gym, staying ready, and just making sure my mind, body, and soul is just all locked in.
And yeah, I guess people now got to be careful about because I mean it worked out for Renato Moicano. He had that quote where he was like, I don't hope anybody gets hurt, but I hope someone is out for that fight. And then it happened. And it's like, oh shit! Like look at that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so, dude, before we get out of here tonight, just what are you looking towards for the year 2025? Because you've had great activity every year that you have been an amateur or professional fighter. You stay busy. What are you looking to do in the year 2025?
Just looking to be the best version of myself that I can be. Ideally, we get into the UFC within the next couple of weeks, couple months, and take off from there, man. I want to win my short notice fight, and just keep fighting, keep staying active. Like I said, activity is so key in this game. I just want to keep being the best version of myself that I could be. Just keep training, keep getting better, and then, of course, we're looking forward to March 8th. We got Josh Van coming up, so I'm gonna be there. We'll be there. Yeah, it's gonna be good just to be around and make sure to let them know that I'm still around. Kind of get my name in the door. I mean, shit, if I could get on that card, that'd be sick. Me and Josh fighting together, but that's what we're looking for. We're not trying to look too far ahead. We're just kind of focused on the now. We're trying to focus on what we got to accomplish. But yeah, just kind of growing myself. I think I want to be better on social media and stuff. And I'm about to, I just bought a house, not too long ago. So I'm just kind of fixing up my house. I think just keep investing in my house, get a desk, start, probably start, streaming, maybe do some stuff, outside that I can build my brand, build my name. And yeah, I think there's a 2025 is gonna be a really good year for me, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But we're just focused day by day, just getting better, and that's all I can do.
And building the brand is always an important thing. And speaking of must see fighting television, Joshua Van every single time out. Jesus Christ, man. Folks, follow this dude on Twitter at Aswell Michael. Thank you. This has been another interlude episode of RotoBallers official MMA podcast. Tap that. We'll be back to business as usual next week when the UFC returns. Follow me on Twitter at RotoBrady. Folks, we were talking tonight to 10-2 professional fighter, former Fury FC featherweight champion, pro and amateur. Looking forward to big things in the year 2025. Michael, thank you so much for being here tonight. It was great talking to you. I cannot wait to see what your next fight is going to
Thank
be.
you, sir.
And if there is anything that you want to say or anybody you want to shout out or anything like that, the floor is yours.
Yeah, shout out my mom and my pops, man, my sister, my family, for real. I mean, all my, I got a lot of sponsors, but shout out to my uncle, and my cousin, my uncle Brian and little Brian, they sponsor me, take care of me. My family, Villa Arcos, I've been our taco spot in Houston, is my family spot. They've been taking care of me, Laredo Taqueria. Man, I got a lot of love for a lot of people. Next Level, Curve Fragrance. Yeah, I just think of all my people, all my fans. I just having fun, man. I'm enjoying my life, and I really enjoy what I do. I love what I do, and thank you for having me, bro. This was super dope. Super dope. It was really fun, doing this. So thank you, man, for having me.
Oh, glad to hear it, man. It was my pleasure. And folks, thank you so much for listening. Again, follow Michael Aswell on Twitter at Aswell Michael. Thank you all so much for listening. Pay attention to what this dude does in the next 365 days and every day forward. Have yourselves a great week and peace.
Lock in.